Hey folks, Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope we're all doing very, very well. Now, we've entered day 4 of the search for the missing Dr. Michael Mosley. I did a big video on this yesterday, and sadly, if you're keeping up with current events and this particular case, it's not looking too good at all. But I'll do a recap. Dr. Michael Mosley is a very famous British TV celebrity, known for his work with the BBC, but he's worked on other channels as well. He's an author, a doctor, a scientist, a health guru, a documentarian, a filmmaker, a producer, a broadcaster. He's done a lot, and he's very, very popular. His opinions and his ideas. This is a guy I said yesterday, he put tapeworms into his own gut and lived with them for 6 months to monitor the effects of tapeworms. Was there any positive side effects to having tapeworms? And he's done a lot of radical dieting and fasting sort of regimes, but he's promoting health and zesty energy and being able to focus and get your mind and your body totally in tune and make the best of your life. And together with his wife, another doctor, Dr. Dr. Claire Bailey, they've just done a big tour of the UK. Eat well, sleep better, live longer, something along those lines. And they have very lively sort of on-stage debates, and it went down really well. So to recuperate from that, they took themselves off with their friends to their friend's holiday home on the South Aegean Greek island of Symi to stay in their holiday home. And they only got there on Tuesday, the day before he went missing. So Tuesday, I think the 4th of June 2024, they got there, and on Wednesday, the 5th of June at 1:30 in the afternoon, he said farewell to his wife and the friends while they're on a beach, a secluded beach called St. Nicholas's Beach, not far from where they were staying. I'm going to walk back. And that was it. He walked off into oblivion. But there is updates, which I'm going to tell you about now. But first of all, a lot of information that came out in the first couple of days and even yesterday has since been contradicted. And this is always the case with these sort of incidents. People report things initially and it's taken down incorrectly and it's put out there to the world's media, and it's actually wrong. And one of the things that was wrong, which even I reported on, was they were staying in Pedy. Pedy's another little hamlet. This is a very rugged coastline. The island of Symi, it's tiny, it's 25 miles square. All the interior is rocky, sort of semi-volcanic landscape of ragged hills and not much vegetation, little valleys and ravines and crevices, very precarious. But everywhere around the outside is little hamlets, little fishing villages, marinas, bars, cafes, tavernas, and the idyllic sort of, the sea, the Aegean Sea, and the sun, the blistering sun. As the mayor of Symi himself said, look, the day he went missing, it was unbearably hot. Now, for a local to say that, it's got to be hot. Now, yesterday morning when I checked their temperature, it was 33 degrees, but it was going to climb, and it reached over 40. So in fact, some reports it was 47 degrees. That's hotter than hell itself. And if you're not used to that kind of climate, that's going to knock you out. Anyway, so on the Wednesday that he went missing, he complained of feeling unwell to his wife and to the friends, but they were taking a boat taxi from where they were staying, which was not the hamlet of Pedy, it was Symi town itself, which I presume is the capital of Symi Island. I presume that's the capital. They were staying there. Now, it's not far away from the hamlet of Pedy, but even so, they weren't staying in Pedy. So it's a rocky, ragged coastline, little bays and coves. They took a boat taxi from where they were staying to St. Nicholas's Beach, a nice little secluded beach, and he stayed there all morning. But he complained again of feeling unwell. So he said, look, I'm not gonna get the boat ride back. I'm gonna walk back. Okay, it isn't far to walk. It's not far, and I'm gonna ramble all this home to you throughout this video. It's gone very dark in here. The sun is beating outside, but the clouds are going over, so it's going to go periodically dark and light and dark and light. And I wish I had some blackout curtains to get this sort of studio sorted out properly. But you know me. Anyway, so he walks back, begins that walk. They arrive back at the holiday home about 6 o'clock that evening, and he's not there. And they raised the alarm straight away, and a big search was conducted, and is still ongoing. And there's been lots of developments with that search, of course. But another key thing is that he left his phone behind. Initially, it was reported he left his phone on the beach, presumably with his wife. But that isn't the case, because when they got back to the hotel, back to the holiday home, they found his phone was there. Now, this is important. I did stress this yesterday. Nobody in the modern age goes anywhere without their phone. They just don't do it. Especially someone who's a TV broadcaster. They've just done a successful tour of the UK. But there'll be other TV shows and documentaries and TV interviews would have been lined up. You've got to stay in touch. So it seems strange that he left his phone behind. And of course, it could be a very, very grim, terrible mistake that he made there, because your phone can be traced and it would have found him. Now, that walk back, it's pretty much one direct path, and it takes you through a couple of little villages and towns, and then you sweep around the bay, and you go through Peddy, and then you come around again, and you reach Symi town. And they know the route he would have taken, and they've checked it, and of course they haven't found him. So the idea is look, he's gone off the beaten track, which I discussed yesterday. It's very easy to do if you want to, because looking at the map and following along the coastline, well, you can cut off little bits by going over rocky promontories. Now, what might seem high to someone else, a big promontory, might not seem that high to someone. Well, I'm going to go up there and get a better view, and you would have got a fantastic view. So of course, one theory, he's gone off the beaten track and he's fallen and he's gone into the sea. Well, they brought in a dive team, a local fisherman and the Coast Guard, and they've scoured all the coastal region, and the sea throws back the dead bodies. Anyone who's been in the water, you come up again at some point. I'm not saying 100% you're going to find them, because they could have got swept into a rocky cove. They could be underneath an overhang, dragged under, but should have found something at least. Found nothing. So they've actually called off the sea search for now, which I think is a little bit premature, because, as I say, they might not come up straight away, and you need to scour other beaches because bodies get washed up sometimes a lot further away. You've got the tide, you've got currents. Don't come up. They're not going to be right there anyway. But they have called off that search for now at the sea, and they're focusing inland now, because what was the other news that broke after I did yesterday's video? He's caught on CCTV in that little hamlet of Peddy. And he's caught a couple of times, and he's wearing a blue shirt, blue shorts, and in that ridiculous, hellish heat, he's got an umbrella on his shoulder. It's a very British thing to do, have your parasol there. It's to keep the heat and the sun off him, and a very logical thing to do. It won't necessarily deflect the overall heat, but so he's caught on camera with that, and he's by I think a place called the Blue Corner. And he quite clearly seems to the path itself goes one way. The main path you would take to go to Symi town goes one way, but he quite clearly seems to turn and head towards, a high point, another track, which is a lot more treacherous. And you're going to know that terrain, it's rocky, it's sharp, there's not much vegetation. Just tiny bits of grass and thistle, that's all you've got there. So you can lose your footing quite easily. And if you're going up that path, you could just come off down the side, and it won't be a very pleasant landing, So another theory is that he has just literally fallen over, and he's lying out there somewhere. Heat exhaustion, possibly leading to a heart attack. A lot of these things have been posited. And they're all likely snake bites. You have sand vipers there, and you have adders there, and there's other snakes as well, and they're all venomous. So he could have been bitten. He wasn't feeling well, left his phone behind. He is clearly, seemingly, there's no concrete evidence of this, seemingly taken the wrong path. But maybe not by mistake, maybe because he's wanted to. Now that path leads you to, again, you're going to see this in reverse probably, but let's say that they were staying on the beach there, and he's walked along the coastline, gone into Peddy here, and Symi town is there. This is only a couple of miles, by the way. That's all it is. And he's gone to the edge of Peddy, to this blue corner, which I think is a cafe or something. But instead of going around that way, he's gone up. Now, there's the coastline, but you've actually got a sort of promontory, almost like a peninsula, and it's high ground, rocky ravines, rough terrain. He seems to have gone that way. Why would you have done that? If you're not feeling well, why would you have gone to an even hotter, dustier, more dangerous environment? You stick to the main road, unless he's not thinking straight, unless, you know, he has gone delirious. I said about heat exhaustion and fainting and passing out with the heat and the effects it has on you. And I know everyone's different, but having gone through it myself, I know exactly how disorientated you can become. But if you've fallen over somewhere, he's not far from people. It's busy. There's not that many people that live on it. Well, about 22,000 people live there, but it's swollen by tourists every year. And it was, by all accounts, it's busy and bustling. So wherever he is, he's going to be found if he's lying there. And if he's conscious and able to, he's going to crawl back to, well, Peddy or Symi Town's there. You can see, look, you can't get, how can you possibly get lost? Some of the search and rescue team members have said, well, if he's gone into the interior, then he could get lost. Folks, there's no way on that island you're going to get lost. You just can't. The sea is all around you. There's people and hamlets all around in little marinas and tavernas and harbours. You're not going to get lost. You go to any point, you can see exactly where you are. You're not going to get lost unless something's happened to you. But if you're lying there, you could shout, you can call. You'll be seen from the air. They've used drones and helicopters. You'd be seen from the air. There's nowhere for you to hide. If you've gone away from the actual town areas itself, there's no forests, there's no shrubberies. There's just dusty hills. Well, they say mountains. I don't really think you'd reach the elevation of mountains, but could be wrong about that. But they're still pretty high. So unless you've fallen and tumbled and gone underneath an overhang of rocks or fallen down a hole, I mean, I don't know, it's possible, then you should be seen and found by now. This is now the 4th day. So what has happened to poor Michael Mosley? Where has he gone? They're ruling out crime for the time being because there's simply no evidence of that. And there'd be no, what would be the reasons for it? This island thrives on tourism. You're not gonna commit a crime against a tourist. It won't look good, and it certainly won't do you any favours. So I don't think that's the case. But I said yesterday, there are islands where there's a pocket of the community which do resent tourists for maybe environmental reasons or just the intrusive quality of some people, like the Brits, especially the Brits abroad, are nightmares. I know, I am one. But I don't think that's happened here. But if he's not in the water and you can't find him on the land, well, where else could he be? In a house somewhere. Maybe he did pass out. Maybe someone, a local, did find him and they brought him back, but they just haven't contacted anyone yet. Maybe they don't have a TV, maybe they don't have a radio, maybe he hasn't regained consciousness and they just don't know what to do. I know that sounds highly unlikely as well, but if he's not on the land and he's not in the sea, he's got to be somewhere where they haven't checked, and that's going to be someone's house. And if he's alive now, that means they've given him water and food. You can live a long time without food, but you can't live too long without water. And I'm afraid if he's out in that heat, and has been since Wednesday afternoon, without water, you, me, doesn't matter how big and strong and healthy you are, you're dead. You will not survive it. 3 days without water, you won't survive it. You can go weeks without food, you can do, but not without water. You have to have the fluid on board. But in that heat, you need a lot more as well. So, speaking of fluids, sorry, I have no whiskey at the moment. I've just got a cup of tea. Cheers, y'all. It's not bad though. It sure ain't whiskey. So yeah, they're now focusing on this hilly area. Now, they may well find him, and I hope for the families and friends' sake that they do. You hope for the best, you've always got to keep hope alive, always. Even the most dire of circumstances, you've got to cling to some hope, because that gives you the extra bit of energy, the extra reserves of strength to see you through another minute, another half hour, another what, and someone can then find you. And also for the people who are left behind, who are waiting anxiously for news. And you can't underestimate the stress and terror that you're going to be in there. Now, he's the father of 4 kids, and I think 2 sons have travelled over there from the UK to help with the search. Now, the chief of police there has said the search will not end. It will not be over. But folks, you know, searches do end. They have to end. You can't keep on putting those resources out there. Helicopters, Coast Guard, I think the Army are in there. Search and rescue teams are there. And they've got this sniffer dog is there. That poor dog in that heat as well. And that dog hasn't picked up a scent. It hasn't. He's only gone from there. We know he's gone along that path to Paddy. We know that. Just give him something of, you know, Michael Mosley's possessions, get the scent off him. That dog's going to follow him, and it should be able to follow him anywhere he's gone. There's nothing to get in the way of it. Dogs can pick up a scent weeks after they've been left behind. Good tracker dogs, sniffer dogs, know exactly what they're doing. And, you know, okay, they're not infallible, but they're bloody good. And of course, I mentioned David Paulides and the missing 411 phenomenon, and how many times the dogs there that were brought in, the canines, there's the spot that the person was last seen in. Here's all, get a scent from that. The dogs just sit there because they simply cannot pick up a scent anywhere. So where's that person gone? Now, we know the theories that he sort of puts out there, especially if bodies are then later found, you know, many, many, many miles away in an open field, and the cause of death from falling, injuries conducive with a fall. Well, what did you fall from? You fell out that you disappeared there. You were found many miles away, like you've been dropped. He doesn't say it outright, although this guy did make a film only last year called Missing 411, The UFO Connection. And if you watch that, well, it's kind of spelled out for you there, really, to be honest, what the theory is. As outlandish as it seems, you know, Sherlock Holmes, when you've eliminated all, you know, the possible, the rational, only the irrational and the impossible, I know I've mangled that line. That's got to be what happened. That's got to be the truth, the explanation. So, but the dogs can't find any trace. Now, you go on this sort of rocky terrain, you might be thinking, well, you won't find a track left by someone there in that sort of rocky, sharp shale. Well, you do. No matter where you're walking, you leave a trace. If it's soft ground, hard ground, you leave a trace. Even on concrete, the dog would find it. The concrete paving stones, you're going to find something there. And if it's an urban area, there's tons of CCTV, so you'd be tracked by many other ways, as he was tracked to a certain point here. But if you go up these rocky sort of rough terrain, it's arid and just dusty and dry, you dislodge pebbles, and people who know what they're looking for, well, look, there's stuff's been moved there, stuff's been moved there, yeah, it's gone up this way. Somebody who knows what they're doing will find that trail that he's left behind. Now, they're on that mountain, let's call it a mountain, they're on it right now. And if he's gone up there, then again, as I said yesterday, my money is on the fact that he's tumbled into the sea and he just hasn't been found there yet. But again, why is he veered off? He wasn't well. He didn't have his phone with him, so he couldn't even have informed his wife that, oh, by the way, I'm going up top here. Oh, if he got up there, he'd be able to see St. Nicholas's Beach. He'd be able to see Peddy and the other little hamlets and the marinas, because they're just there. It's not far away. There's no distances at all involved in this so far. And if he could turn the other way, he'd see Symi town, where he's meant to be heading to, and he'd be thinking, hang on, I should have been going down there. What am I doing up here? Yeah, it's perplexing. It is. People go missing all the time. There's a resolution to it quite quickly. They're found, often safe and well, and sometimes they're not safe and well. Sometimes, a lot of it may be crime related, and the body is sort of hidden somewhere. but or they've had, a cardiac arrest or whatever. But they're found, especially in an area as minuscule as this. It is just like he's been picked up. Very intelligent man, highly influential character, very well known, and but a really high intellect. If you follow the 411, you know, and of course, a point of separation, water nearby, dog can't find a scent. It fits the profile. So far it does. But hopefully you want closure to this. As I said before, the search and rescue will get called off. If they don't find anything in another, I don't know, I'd give it 2 weeks. But they're going to become frustrated. Like, look, we've searched the entire island. He's not here. And imagine that. And then again, you've got to fall back on the sea. And hopefully something would turn up at some point. He could have been swept far out. Could have been. If he's took a tumble and he's gone straight into the surf, the water around these idyllic islands where they've got little secluded bays, rocky coves and that, no matter how gentle, you might think, oh, there's hardly any breeze at all. But the tide is still smashing against these rocks. And if he's gone off a cliff onto those rocks and into the surf, and then dragged out, it could be floating anywhere, but the tide will bring him back in. I don't know, it's pure conjecture. But the actual search teams and the police have said, he's not here. He simply isn't here. But I think the police chief said yesterday morning, we're going to start interviewing people, which I bet they've done that already, to a lot of people. And there's also someone else who's come forward with footage from a cafe down by a restaurant down by St. Nicholas's Beach. But it was during the morning. If this report's correct, it says that, he came into our restaurant and used our toilet facilities, and we got him going in and we got him going out. But that was earlier, so that doesn't have any bearing on the case, does it? Because that was when he and his wife and the friends were on that beach, and he's gone in there to use the toilet. And then he's gone back, and then he said his goodbyes, and off he's gone. So that's too early to have any possible bearing on this. Well, that's for the police to decide, obviously, but it's definitely it's baffling. It's mysterious. So far, it's mysterious. Why'd you leave your phone behind? Was you not thinking straight even back then, early in the morning? You don't feel well. You don't fancy the boat trip back. That's my presumption there. I mean, having took these little boats, yeah. Even I don't get seasick. Yeah, these things are going like that. And if you're a bit queasy to begin with, that's not going to be, a very happy experience. So he's gone, I'm not doing that. And he's gone to walk. But he hasn't taken, the actual proper route. He has to a point, and then he seems to have gone the wrong direction. Why would he do that? Maybe he just thought, I feel a bit better now. I'm going to go and get a view from up there and take a few shots. I don't know if he had a camera with him, I presume. But of course, everyone these days, your phone is your camera. Left his phone behind. So I don't know. But they haven't found the brolly. They haven't found anything. He hasn't kicked off his shoes or anything like that. It is a very strange thing because it's such a small area, and he's picked up a couple of times. There are reports of people who've said they spoke to him, but again, you've got to take this sort of thing with a real pinch of salt. Get it verified, get it confirmed, but the priority right now is to just put people in these areas to find him, lift up stones, prod around the odd bush, because he may have crawled anywhere to get out the sun. But there's nowhere to conceal yourself unless you're in a house or, I don't know, a shed or a boathouse. I don't know. There's nothing there. I hope there's some resolution to this. I hope it's happy news, but look, you and I both know this doesn't look like it's going to end well. And I hate saying that, but you've got to be realistic. I've covered these sort of things before, and every case that I've covered, it's ended badly. I mean, there was only a couple of weeks ago, there was a father and son who went to Glencoe. I did a video on Glencoe only a couple of months prior, or no, I don't know. I did do a video on Glencoe, and you know, the betrayal that took place there with the Campbells and the massacre that took place. And I've been to Glencoe, and it's a wonderful, wonderful place. But the time to go, ironically, is the best viewing time is autumn and into the winter. But as I said before about many of these rural areas, these wilderness areas, even in the UK, what's beautiful and sunny down at this level is going to be treacherous and blizzard bound. If not blizzards, torrential rain, ferocious wind and mist. You won't see your hand in front of your face, and you blunder off, down you go. Well, this father and son, there was a search lasted about 2 days, but I didn't report on it because I knew straight away. Yeah, they were found. Sadly, they died. I think the father was like 47, 49 maybe, and the son was like 13. Horrible. But so these things don't tend to end well, especially when you're going like several days into the search. But rule nothing out. I mean, I've done these videos many times now, and I always sort of like, as I'm doing this, news could be breaking that, oh, we found it, he's fine. If he's not in someone's house, I mean, if he's alive, he's in someone's house, or he's on someone's boat. They're the only scenarios I can think of where after these few days, in that unbearable heat, that he could possibly be surviving. He can't do it out in the sun, he can't, not without water. And he hasn't turned up anywhere, so that would be the end. So he's got to be in someone's house and shelter, and he's getting sustenance, or he's on someone's boat. Maybe he did fall off and someone else picked him up, and they haven't reported it yet. They're not far from Turkey. So there's 2 Turkish peninsulas, which are, again, about 30 kilometres away, if that. But that they're very close. So they could have someone from Turkey who's found him, picked him up, and don't know what to do. You know, again, that's pure conjecture. The very thing that they don't like you to do. No speculations, but in the absence of hard facts and evidence, what are you left with? Well, there's bound to be another update on this at some point, maybe even later on today. Let's see what this concentrated search on this area produces. I mean, again, it's hilly, rocky, but if you look at it, it's barren. There's nowhere to be, and there's nowhere around the coast beneath it where you could be nestled up and holed up in, swept into a cave. Oh, there's another possibility. But if the water takes you into the cave, the water's going to take you back out the cave again at some point. And I don't think if you tumbled into the water, you're not going to be in a fit state to fight it off. So poor Michael Mosley. It's tragic and harrowing for all concerned, and I wish everyone the best. I do. I hope for a happy outcome, but prepare yourself for the worst. Folks, I have been always Shabby Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, in this ever where's Michael Mosley in between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all laters. Mind how you go.